Hello everyone, Miss Demmer here. Our I can statement for today is I can find solutions using trial and error. What we're going to be doing is you're going to have different equations with variables. Now we've talked about variables. Variables is a letter that represents a number. For example, we might have the variable x. If x equals 3, that means any number in our equation that is x is going to equal 3. Y is also a variable. R, T, B. Okay, those are all variables. And then we pick a number to go in for our variable. Now, that is what we're going to be doing today. So we're going to put this into play right now. So I have this right here. And this is my equation. 2 times y equals 47. So we're trying to get it as close to 47 as we possibly can. What they did is they kept the 2. And then where there's y, they put a 1 in. So 2 times 1 gives us 2. The 2y we already know gives us 2, and then we times that by 1 because our variable y is here, which also gives us 2. That is less than 47. Do the same thing with 5. 2 times 5 gives us 10. Since this already gives us 10, we're going to take 10 times 5. We're just putting that variable in, or that number in for that variable. Now 50 is greater than 47. So I'm going to try 4. 2 times 4 gives me 8. 8 times 4 is 32. Essentially, we're just multiplying these two numbers. Now, that is still less than 47. So I'm thinking it has to be between 4 and 5. Since this is too small and this is too big. So I'm going to do 4.5. Now, wherever 4.5 is, we're going to put that in for y. So we're going to do 4.5 times 2, which gives us 10. 8, that's 9. I move it 1, 0, and 1 total. That gives me 9. Now I'm going to multiply these two. When I multiply, I always take my longer number on top. So I'm going to take 4.5 times 9. 9 times 5 gives me 45. 9 times 4 is 36, plus 4 more is 40. I move it 1, 0, and 1 total. That gives me 40.5. That is still less than 47. But notice we had a big jump here. So I'm just going to try 4 6/10 to see. Now I'm going to erase this down here, and I would definitely suggest, as you're working on this, to grab a scratch piece of paper. And if I'm going too fast, just pause the video, solve it, and then make sure you did it correctly. Okay? So we're going to do 4 6/10 times 2, because 4 and 6 now goes in for y. So 4 6/10 times 2. 6 times 2 is 12. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 more is 9. I move it 1, 0, and 1 total. That gives me 9 2/10. Now I multiply these both out. So I'm going to do 4 6/10 times 9 2/10. That gives me 12. That gives me 9. Add a 0. 6 times 9 is 54. 9 times 4 is 36, plus 5 more. Well, I know 36 plus 4 more is 40, plus 1 more is 41. I add that up. Move it 1 here, 2 total. 1, 2, 42, and 3,200. So that's less than 47. Now I notice here that this only went up by about 2. So I'm thinking now I might go to 4 8/10. So when I put in 4 8/10 here, we're going to do the same process. So I put in my 4 8/10 here. I'm going to do 4 8/10 times that by 2. Gives me 16. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 more is 9. 1, 0, 1. I get 9 6/10. Now I'm going to take my 9 6/10 times that by 4 8/10. Equal this out. 6 times 8 is 48. 9 times 8 is 72, plus 4 more is 76. Add a 0 for place value. 6 times 4 is 24. 9 times 4 is 36. Plus 2 more is 38. I add that up. That gives me 8. That gives me 10. That gives me 16. And that gives me 4. So I get 46. Move 1, 2 total. 46 800ths. Now that's still less than 47, but we're getting awfully close here. So I'm thinking, ooh, maybe I want to see the difference with 4 9/10. So I'm going to put in 4 9/10. Notice I'm just putting numbers that are close to since we're getting close here. So I put this in, and I'm just going to erase my work. Make sure when you're doing your homework and things like that, that you keep your work so you can see what you did. Okay, so we have 4 9/10 times that by 2. Get 18, 8, 9, move it 1, 0. I get 9 8/10. Now I'm going to take my 9 8/10 times 4 9/10. 8 times 9 is 72. 9 times 9 is 81. Plus 7 more is 88. Add a 0 for place value. 8 times 4 is 32. 9 times 4 is 36. Plus 3 more is 39. Add those up. I move the place value 1. I get 2 total to get 48 200ths. Now I'm looking at this right now and I'm thinking, okay, now that's way more than what I wanted. Okay, so that's more than our 47. So I'm going to do a number in between both of these two. So I'm going to make it 4 85 hundredths. So when I do that, we're just going to do the exact same thing that we're doing. We're just going to put 4 85 hundredths. Notice how those decimals, we can make them more in depth. And you're definitely going to have to do that on your home link, because that helps us get closer to that 47 there. Okay? So I look here, and I get 4 85 hundredths times that by 2. That gives me 10. 16 plus 1 more is 17. 4 times 2 is 8 plus 1 more is 9. And I get 9 7/10. Now I take my 4 85 hundredths times my 9 7/10, put it up against my wall. 5 times 7 is 35. 8 times 7 is 42. Plus 3 more is 45. 4 times 7 is 28. Plus 4 more is 32. Add a 0 for place value. 5 times 9 is 45. 8 times 9 is 72. Plus 4 more is 76. 9 times 4 is 36. 36 plus 7 more. Well, I know 36 plus 4 more gives me 40. Then I have 3, so that gives me 43. Equal this out. So then we have to figure out where our decimal goes here. Up against my wall, 1, 2, 1. We have 3 total, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now I'm looking here. So I'm looking here and I realize there's something not adding up here. So I'm pretty sure I made a mistake when I was figuring this out. So I'm going to go back through, and I think I did an error here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to re-equal this out, and maybe you got something different and you found my error. So we have 4 8500ths times 9 7/10. I go 5 times 7 is 35. 8 times 7 gives us 56. Plus 3 more is 59. 28, 7 times 4 is 28, plus 5 more is 34. Or not 34, 33. We add a 0 for place value. 5 times 9 is 45. 8 times 9 is 72. Plus 4 more gives us 76. 36 plus 7 more. Well, I know 36 plus 4 more is 40. Plus 3 more is 43. I add this up. And I realize here that now I found where my mistake was. So what I did is I was multiplying some of these incorrectly. So we got to be really careful with our numbers. Thankfully, I noticed my mistake right away. So we move it 3 places over. 47 and 45 thousandths. Now this is still more than 47, but are we really, really close here? Yes, we're going by the thousandths. So for my closest number, the closest number that was to y, that was as close to 47, is our 4 8500ths. Now that is what we are doing tonight with your homework. Now I'm going to go over that with you here so you understand what you did. So, just waiting for this to load. Up here, in here, you're just putting numbers in. Notice how they have you with decimals, so you're probably going to have to use some decimals here. You guys are pros at that. This one really is all they're doing is adding these two numbers up. So once you get like 3, it's 3 times 3 because it's 3 to the third power. 4 times 4. 3.5 times 3.5. Okay? Then you're going to add those two numbers up. Down here, you need to find your 6, like your 6 times 6. Then you need to find your 2 times 6, and then you subtract the 2. Same thing with these ones. Down here, you're putting this in exponential notation. So like, for example, if I have 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, I'm going to do 3 to the 4th power. Because I'm multiplying 3 4 times. If you have any questions, please let me know. Have a great rest of your day.